locked rooms, secret ballots, centuries of tradition, and smoke signals that grab the whole planet's attention. Ever really stop to think how a new pope gets elected?
It's, quite something.
Annuncio vobis gaudium magnum. Habemus Papa.
Yeah, it's this process that's super detailed, technically speaking, but also, frankly, kind of bizarre in parts. Why? All the secrecy. What's going on with some of those rituals? And maybe the big question, could understanding this ancient system actually tell you something useful?
That's what we're hoping to unpack.
Stick with us, because in this deep dive, we're really trying to crack open the fascinating world of papal elections.
And if you want to actually see some of the incredible settings and rituals will be discussed.
Oh, definitely. You should check out our YouTube channel, Icons of Italy. We've got visuals there.
So today, yeah, we're focusing right in on how a new pope is chosen, specifically the conclave.
Right.
And we're drawing on, various news reports and articles that detail the procedures, the traditions, and even some of the really curious bits.
So our mission really is to demystify this whole thing for you. We'll break down the nuts and bolts, the mechanics, but also shine a light on some of the, let's say, unusual elements.
And hopefully show what insights anyone, regardless of background, can maybe take away from it.
Exactly. Okay, so the stage for all this.
Yep.
It's pretty iconic, isn't it? Where does this actually happen?
It really is. The whole election, basically from start to finish, happens inside the Sistine Chapel.
Wow.
The official rule book, the Apostolic Constitution Universi Dominici Gregis, it spells out everything, even tiny details, like the ballot paper.
The ballot? What's special about it?
Well, it's rectangular, and it has Eligo in Summum Pontificem printed at the top.
Which means?
I elect as Supreme Pontiff. Then there's a space below for the cardinal to write their choice.
Yeah.
And they're designed specifically to be folded, for secrecy.
Makes sense. And of course, the chapel itself, the history, the art.
Absolutely. It's an incredibly powerful setting for such a significant event.
So who exactly gets to make this huge decision? Who are the electors?
They are the cardinals of the Catholic Church, specifically the cardinal electors.
Okay.
For this upcoming election, the one our sources mention, starting May 7th, 2025, there are expected to be 133 electors.
133. Is there an age limit or anything?
Yes, that's a key point. Only cardinals under the age of 80 are actually eligible to vote in the conclave.
Got it. So before they even start writing names down,
Yeah.
What happens? What's the setup phase?
That's the pre-scrutiny phase. It involves several steps. First, the Master of Ceremonies gets the ballots ready and gives them out at least 2 or 3 per cardinal.
Okay.
Then they randomly draw names. 3 scrutineers, they're the ones who count the votes.
Right.
3 infirmarian, they collect votes from any cardinals who might be sick.
Ah.
And 3 revisers who double check everything at the end. These are all chosen from the electors themselves.
And what if someone drawn is unable to do it?
Good question. If a cardinal chosen can't serve, maybe due to illness, they just select another one to take their place.
Right. So ballots distributed, rolls assigned. Then what?
Then everyone who isn't essential for the actual voting has to leave the Sistine Chapel. That includes people like the Secretary of the College of Cardinals, the Master of Pontifical Liturgical Celebrations.
So just the electors and the key officials.
Just the electors and those directly involved in the vote mechanics at that point. Then the last cardinal deacon seals the door shut.
And that's the conclave with key.
Exactly. Locked in. The doors only opened if absolutely necessary, like for the infirmary to go collect votes and come back.
Okay, scene set, doors locked. How does the voting itself actually work? Take us through that.
Right, so the voting goes in order of precedence, basically, the rank among the cardinals.
Okay.
Each cardinal, one by one, writes their choice on the ballot. They fold it, then they hold it up high so everyone can see they have it.
A bit of theater there.
You could say that. Then they walk up to the altar where the scrutineers are. There's a covered receptacle, like a chalice or urn, sitting on a plate.
And they put the ballot in.
Yes, but first, as they place the ballot onto the plate, which the scrutineer then tips into the receptacle, they have to say an oath, aloud.
An oath? What do they say?
They say, "I call Christ the Lord as my witness, who will be my judge, that my vote is given to the one who, according to God, I think should be elected."
Wow. That's pretty heavy.
It is. Very solemn. After placing the ballot, they bow to the altar and go back to their seat.
What if a cardinal is there in the chapel, but is too sick to walk up to the altar?
Good point. For those present but unable to approach the altar, the last scrutineer goes to them.
Okay.
The sick cardinal says the oath, hands over the folded ballot, and the scrutineer carries it visibly to the altar, places it on the plate, and then into the receptacle without repeating the oath.
And what about cardinals who are even more unwell, maybe confined to their rooms at Santa Marta?
Right, the Domus Sancti Marthae where they stay. For them, the 3 infirmari go. They take a tray with some ballots and a special box with a lock and a slot.
A locked box.
Yes. Before they leave the chapel, this box is opened in front of everyone to show it's empty. Then it's locked, and the key is left on the altar.
Okay.
The infirmari take the locked box to the sick cardinal's room. He votes, takes the oath, puts the ballot in the box through the slot. Then the infirmari bring the box back.
And then?
Once everyone inside the chapel has voted, the scrutineers unlock that box, count the ballots inside just to make sure the number matches the number of sick electors they visited.
Check and double check.
Exactly. Then they place each of those ballots onto the plate and into the main receptacle with the others. It's, meticulous. Ensures every vote counts, but stays secret.
Okay, so all the ballots are finally in the main receptacle. This feels like the moment of truth. The counting, right? The scrutiny.
Precisely. The scrutiny. The first scrutineer gives the receptacle a good shake to mix all the ballots up.
Mix them up.
Then, the last scrutineer pulls them out one by one, holds each one up so it's visible, and puts it into another, initially empty receptacle.
Moving them over.
Right. It's an initial count. This is crucial. If the number of ballots they just moved doesn't match the number of electors who voted.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, then all those ballots get burned immediately. No questions asked, and they have to hold a second vote right away.
Wow. Strict. But if the numbers do match?
If they match, then the real counting starts. The 3 scrutineers sit down at a table set up in front of the altar.
Okay.
The first scrutineer takes a ballot, opens it, reads the name silently, notes it down, and passes it to the second scrutineer.
He checks it.
Exactly. The second one verifies the name, then passes it to the third scrutineer.
And the third one.
The third one reads the name out loud, clearly, so all the electors there can hear it and write it down on their own tally sheets. The third scrutineer also records the name he just announced.
Are there rules for, like, weird ballots? What if someone folds 2 together or something?
They have procedures. If they find 2 ballots folded together looking like they came from one person, if they both have the same name, it counts as 1 vote. But if those 2 folded together ballots have different names, neither vote counts. It doesn't spoil the whole election batch, but those 2 votes are invalid. It ensures 1 cardinal, 1 vote.
Got it. So after the names are read, tallied up, what happens to the actual pieces of paper, the ballots?
As the third scrutineer reads each name, they do something else. They take a needle and thread.
Needle and thread?
Yeah, they pierce each ballot right through the word eligo, that's the I elect part, and thread it onto a string.
What?
For preservation, basically. Keeps them physically together in order. Once all ballots are read and threaded, they tie the ends of the string in a knot.
Like a paper necklace of votes.
Sort of, yeah. And those bundled ballots are put aside in a receptacle or on the table. Then they do the final tally count.
And after the final count and the check by the revisers.
Right. The revisers double-check the ballots against the scrutineer's notes, make sure everything is accurate and by the book. Once that's done, the ballots get burned.
Ah, the burning. In the famous stove.
Yes, in that cast iron stove from 1939. But since 2005, there's actually a second, more modern stove connected to the same chimney.
2 stoves.
Yeah. The old one burns the ballots. The new one is used to add specific chemicals to make sure the smoke is definitively black, meaning no pope yet, or white, signaling success.
So that's how they get the clear smoke signals. Fascinating. And hey, speaking of fascinating stuff, if you're enjoying this look behind the scenes, do us a favor, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us keep doing these deep dives into Italian culture and history.
Absolutely. So back to the vote count. What's the magic number? How many votes does someone need?
Right, the quorum.
It requires a 2/3 majority of the votes cast. So for this upcoming conclave with 133 electors, a candidate needs to get at least 89 votes.
89 out of 133. That's a significant majority. No simple majority here.
No, it really emphasizes the need for broad consensus.
So counting's done, revisers have checked. Is that it? Or are there more steps?
There's still the post-scrutiny phase. The revisers, as we said, they meticulously check the ballots and the scrutineer's notes. They have to ensure every single step was followed correctly.
Okay.
Once they're satisfied, if no pope was elected in that round, all the ballots from that vote are burned by the scrutineers. They get help from the secretary of the college and the master of ceremonies who are called back in just for that.
And this burning happens before they leave the chapel.
Yes, if there's no pope elected. If a pope is elected, say on the first ballot of a session, those successful ballots are usually burned at the end of that session, maybe along with ballots from a second vote, if one happens right after.
What's the rhythm like? How often do they vote? And what if they just get stuck, deadlocked?
Good question. The schedule is typically 2 votes or scrutinies in the morning and 2 in the afternoon.
Okay, 4 a day, potentially?
Right. Now, if they don't reach that 2/3 majority after 3 full days of voting, they pause. Yes, a pause for about a day. It's meant for prayer, informal chats among the electors, and a short spiritual talk, an exhortation given by the senior cardinal deacon.
And then back to voting.
Then back to voting. If, after another 7 rounds of voting, 7 scrutinies, there's still no pope, they pause again. Prayer, discussion, and this time the exhortation comes from the senior cardinal priest.
Pattern emerging here.
Exactly. If another 7 scrutinies pass without result, same thing. Pause, prayer, discussion, but the exhortation is from the senior cardinal bishop.
And if even that doesn't work, still deadlocked.
If they're still stuck after all that, they dedicate a whole day just to prayer, reflection, and serious dialogue, deep breaths.
Okay.
After that day, the voting changes. It becomes a runoff, essentially. Only the 2 cardinals who got the most votes in the very last scrutiny are on the ballot.
A head-to-head.
Yes, but here's the catch. Those 2 candidates, they can't vote in this round. And the winner still needs that 2/3 majority of the other cardinals present and voting.
Wow, even the runoff needs the supermajority. They really want consensus.
They really do. It's designed to eventually break any stalemate.
This whole thing, the locked doors, the rules, it sounds incredibly intense and, well, secret. Can you talk more about that isolation, the conclave aspect?
Oh, absolutely. The secrecy and isolation are paramount. Conclave with key isn't just symbolic.
Right.
In our world, constantly connected, the conclave is a deliberate break. Total disconnection. The rules, Universi Dominici Gregis, strictly forbid any kind of electronic communication device, no phones, no tablets, nothing.
And they enforce that.
Rigorously. Back in 2013, they even installed special shielding against spying and white noise generators inside the Sistine Chapel.
Anti-spy tech.
Seriously.
Seriously. And sources suggest security will be even tighter for the next one. No way to communicate with the outside. Cardinals can't even wear watches.
No watches. Why?
To further disconnect them from the normal flow of time, from external schedules, their day is run by internal signals, bells perhaps, and of course eventually the smoke signals. Imagine that. 133 mostly older men completely cut off. No news, no email, no calls.
It's a stark contrast to how we live, isn't it?
Right.
It really underscores the weight of their task. There's a special team, the custodians of the conclave under the Camerlengo's authority, who enforce all this.
And the penalty for breaking the rules.
It's severe. If even one forbidden electronic device were found, it could potentially invalidate the entire conclave.
Whoa. So no quick texts, no checking Twitter feeds, just the vote, the reflection, the silence.
Exactly. It's a unique environment.
Truly incredible. And hey, listeners, don't forget, if you want more insights like this into fascinating Italian traditions, like, comment, and subscribe to our Icons of Italy channel.
Okay, so beyond the main rules, are there other sort of curious details or traditions that pop up?
Oh, definitely. There are lots of interesting little side notes. We mentioned the infirmari collecting votes from sick cardinals in their rooms at Santa Marta.
Right. Ensuring they can still vote even if confined.
Exactly. Then there's the language issue. Think about cardinals from all over the world. Different languages, yeah.
And there's no simultaneous translation provided during their discussions. So if a cardinal doesn't understand Italian or Spanish or French or whatever is being spoken,
They just have to hope someone explains.
pretty much. They rely on what's called fraternal charity, other cardinals helping out with translation.
That could be tricky.
What else? Well, there's the famous Stanza delle Lacrimae, the Room of Tears.
Room of Tears? Sounds dramatic.
It's a small room, a sacristy, right off the Sistine Chapel. It's where the newly elected pope goes immediately after accepting the election
To do what?
to put on the papal robes for the very first time. And because they don't know who will be elected or his size.
They need options.
Exactly. They have 3 sets of white papal robes ready, small, medium, and large.
And why Room of Tears?
Because, understandably, the man just elected pope is often overwhelmed by the moment, the weight of it all. It said they often shed tears of emotion, responsibility, perhaps joy in that room.
Makes sense. Any other historical quirks?
There used to be something called a bonus conclave.
A bonus for who?
For Vatican employees. A sort of extra payment recognizing the extra work during the sed vacante, the time the papacy is vacant.
Oh, interesting. Is that still a thing?
No, Pope Francis actually abolished it, citing the current financial situation.
Okay. And what about food? Locked in there, they have to eat, right? Any weird food rules?
Historically, yes. The food rules have changed, sometimes used almost as an incentive to speed things up.
Oh, so?
In the past, according to some sources, if a pope wasn't elected after 3 days, the cardinals' meals were cut down to just 1 dish per meal.
Ouch.
And if it went past 5 days, just bread, wine, and water.
Talk about motivation. Is it still like that?
No, it's simpler now, but decent. They eat at the Domus Sanctae Marthae. Meals are described as simple but, well-prepared Italian food.
Like what?
Things like risotto, white meat, baked fish, always with fresh bread. Standard Italian fare, basically.
And the kitchen staff?
Very carefully selected, highly discreet, minimal interaction with the cardinals.
So every pope starts his reign having just eaten Italian food inside the conclave?
That's pretty much guaranteed, yes.
Okay, so we've gone through the mechanics, the secrecy, the quirky traditions. Let's loop back to that earlier question. What can the public actually learn from this? Why should someone, maybe not even Catholic, care about understanding this process?
That's a great question. Even though the inner workings are secret, the process itself tells us a few things.
Like what?
Well, first, it highlights the huge importance placed on tradition, on very careful deliberation, and on what the church considers spiritual discernment in choosing a leader. It's not a quick decision.
Definitely not quick.
And the sheer amount of global attention it gets, that alone shows the significant influence the papacy still holds worldwide.
True, the smoke watch is global.
Right. Also, the whole meticulous procedure, the emphasis on prayer, on reflection, it's such a contrast to how many decisions get made today, right?
Yeah.
So fast, so digital.
Yeah, it's the opposite of instant gratification.
Exactly. And maybe that intense anticipation for the white smoke, that collective holding of breath, it kind of taps into a basic human thing, doesn't it? That desire for resolution, for a new beginning.
That's a really interesting way to put it. A different model of decision-making to observe.
Perhaps. It makes you think.
This has been absolutely fascinating, a real deep dive. So just to recap quickly, we've covered the voting mechanics in the Sistine Chapel, the whole scrutiny process, the smoke signals.
The intense secrecy and isolation, the conclave itself.
Right. And some of those unique traditions like the Room of Tears and the changing food rules over time.
So maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on.
Okay.
In our world that's just flooded with instant information where decisions are often made so quickly, what can we actually learn? What insights can we gain from watching this centuries-old process? This deliberately slow, reflective method that puts such a high value on tradition and spiritual thought when choosing a leader.
That's definitely something to think about. And for more explorations into Italy's incredible culture, history, and traditions,
please do check out our YouTube channel, Icons of Italy.
lots more to discover there. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.